the Kambo is just like a beautiful, it's called the Great Revealer because it's revealing you to yourself. So you get to your true self again. And you can feel like, people say they feel superhuman after it, but it's like, it's actually just your true self. You're not a superhuman. It's actually just, you're you again.
You're
like,
you.
Yeah, it's like, welcome back.
Welcome to Follow Your Heart Song, where we reclaim pleasure, break taboos, and awaken to our deepest desires. I'm Rose Heartsong, bringing you raw, unapologetic conversations on sex, spirit, and self-liberation. Let's dive in. Hello, hello. Welcome. This is Rose Heartsong, and you are listening to Follow Your Heart Song. And on the show, we talk about sexuality, spirituality, and holistic health, and we welcome a lot of the taboo. I love to dive into taboo topics and kind of bring them forward to make them less taboo and more relatable. And tonight we have a guest that is a really sweet guest friend of mine and also my Kambo practitioner. And I also want to say that because we're going to be talking a lot about Kambo tonight, that this show is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice, and always consult a professional before using any type of altering medicines. And we're going to be talking about Kambo. So a lot of you probably don't really know what Kambo is. So I'm really excited to have my Kambo practitioner, Heather Mack, here tonight. She is a master Kambo practitioner and a conscious curator of incredible events and a dear sister of mine. We have a deep connection to the Magdalene path because of her father, actually. And so I'm really excited to have you here tonight, Heather, and I'd love for you to share a little bit more about yourself.
Yes. Thank you, Rose, for having me. I'm so honored and grateful to get to be here and share with you. And yes, I am a Kambo practitioner, and I also put on conscious events here in LA, which I love doing. It's all about bringing conscious community together, so we really love doing that, and it works really synergistically with the plant medicine with Kambo people that are on their awakening journey and going through big transitions in their life and looking to meet new people. We really like to bring like-minded individuals together to come together and find one another, and people, especially people on their healing path and wanting to share experiences. So we really love putting those events together. We do them pretty much like 1 or 2 a month. So
wow, that's often. I didn't realize that was often. I need to come up. I feel like I get stuck in my little Laguna bubble and don't ever want to go up to Los Angeles because I find it so crazy and chaotic. So I'm very passionate about Kambo because it's been a huge tool for me in working with anxiety and depression in my nervous system. It's been huge. And I've worked with a couple different practitioners, and then I found you. I don't even know. You reached out to me actually about Mary Magdalene.
Mary Magdalene, yes.
Yeah. And you asked me to come to your goddess event and talk about her. And then you said you were a Kambo practitioner. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for a female. And I don't know why, because when it comes to other medicines that I've done, I don't really care about the gender of the person facilitating, but for some reason, like the first couple times I did Kambo was with a man, and I just had this like interesting download that like I couldn't do it with men anymore. And I don't know why. I have no idea what that's about, because I'll do plant medicine ceremonies with men in other types of medicine journeys. But for some reason, there's something about you, and you're like nourishing, nurturing, but you have like a warrior energy too. Like you're very firm, but also like very sweet and compassionate. And there's something about you that just makes it so easy to do this experience. So I really appreciate you being here. And I've spoken you here before, so I'm really happy to have you on tonight.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to get to be here and share with you and your audience about Kambo. So
yeah. Okay. So for those who are listening right now, who are like, what is Kambo? What is Kambo?
Yeah, well, just know that you're not alone, and not a lot of people know about Kambo. And Rose is so brave. She's sat with Kambo quite a few times, and it's so beautiful to witness her transformation over the years that we've known each other, and just see her blossom. And I'll share a little bit more about that in a little bit. But to answer your question, so Kambo is a secretion from a Amazonian frog. It's actually it's called the giant waxy monkey tree frog, the Phylomedusa bicolor, and it's a secretion from his back and his leg, and it's no frog is harmed in the process. So they actually go out into the jungle. I actually was blessed enough to go down and witness this process to check to make sure the frogs are not harmed, because that was very important to me. But they actually do it in a very sacred way. The tribes, they actually call this frog the king of the jungle, and they treat him with true reverence and respect. So when they take the frogs down, they take the secretion and they put them back, and then they actually don't touch the frogs again for 3 months. They let them rest, but the secretion is then taken and it's put on our skin. We make a small surface level burn with an incense stick. So it's typically done either for women for the first time on the ankle or the upper arm for the men. And then that secretion moves through the lymphatic system within 30 seconds. So you feel it rush through your whole body. And it's really beautiful because it's scanning your body for imbalance. So it's really incredible. The way I like to explain how Kambo works is God, creator, source, whatever you want to call it, creates everything from a balanced state. So everything comes from balance. And in Kambo, the secretion is trying to create balance in your body. So anything that is causing imbalance within you, it's going to help purge that out. So you go through a purging experience, and you can purge in a couple different ways. You're either going to have an upward purge, a vomit, you're going to go to the bathroom, you can sweat, you can cry, you can laugh. Sometimes people need to scream. I mean, it comes out in all different ways, and it's all energy moving, because this is what it is. The body keeps the score. So our body traps trauma. We don't release energy like animals do. Like animals, if a cat gets scared, it'll shake it off afterwards, and then it goes about its business like nothing ever happened. And with us as human beings, we don't really get the opportunity to release things in the same way that the animal kingdom does. So this beautiful medicine can help us really cleanse it out, especially deep-seated things. I've had people have childhood trauma things come out that's been trapped in their body, and they get clarity right afterwards to understand what the medicine is helping them release. And I like to explain it as it's kind of like layers of an onion. You work on the biggest energetic imbalance first, and then as you continue working with the medicine, if you so decide to, you continue to work through the layers. So it's helping you shed things over time. So that's a little gist of it.
Yeah. So where did you go in the jungle?
I went to Iquitos, Peru. So it's in the upper basin of the Amazon, and I trained with the Matse tribe.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so these frogs, they're only in the Amazon?
Yes. And it's really cool because these frogs, they've tried to study them and take them from the jungle, and the secretion actually loses its potency if they're not in their original habitat. So they have to stay there in order for the secretion to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Fascinating.
I'm so happy to have you on because I get to learn so much about the medicine I really love.
Yeah.
Personally.
I'm so happy to talk about it.
So another thing that's really cool about Kambo is we have in California, it's becoming a lot more popular to have mushrooms available. I mean, we've had them for a long time, and we're in Laguna Beach. And I don't know if you know this about Laguna Beach, but Laguna Beach's history is it's orange sunshine is from Laguna Beach.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was created here.
What?
Yeah, and they wanted to turn on the world, and that's why it's Tune In, Turn On, KXFM.
Oh my God. What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Timothy Leary and all of them were here in the canyon there's a whole documentary about it, creating acid. And so they really wanted to do this movement of turning on the world. And so we're in kind of a foundational, energetic frequency town of awakening through through medicine or acid. And so it's really cool fact. Yeah, there's a really cool, I forgot the name of the documentary, but I'll send it to you. I think it's called Orange Sunshine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's
so,
amazing.
And, acid's not legal. Mushrooms aren't legal, really. I mean, they're kind of in the interesting gray zone in the world in California. I know in Oregon, you can buy them in dispensaries. I'm not sure if you can here. I think you can in the Bay, actually.
Yes.
But Kambo is totally legal.
Yes.
In all countries except for Australia, right?
Australia. Yeah. And then in Brazil, it's illegal to advertise for it. But yes, Australia is the only country.
That's so crazy.
I know. It's amazing.
So you can market it. You can share about it. We can talk about it on the radio. And it is not like a psychedelic experience. A lot of times when I tell people that I'm doing Kambo, they think I'm having like this big psychedelic experience, but it's really a physical experience.
Yes.
Like you were talking about, like 30 seconds, it goes into your body and clears the body. It can be intense and be big sensation, but there's no like high feeling in the brain.
Right. Yeah, there's no psychedelics. You're not going to see anything. And it's very, in your body. What we were kind of talking about earlier, it's incredible with like helping you physically purge things. It is like a spiritual experience, but it's not like you're going to see anything. Or I do have people very commonly, a lot lately too, where people are getting auditory, like hearing their true self or hearing communication from their ancestors. It's basically like clearing out the debris in your mind so that you can get clear and still and have space for like your truth to come through. So that does happen very frequently, which is amazing. So yeah, the experience I didn't share earlier, but it's typically only 20 to 40 minutes long, which is very different than some of these other medicines that we hear about. So it's brief and it packs you got a lot for such a short time. You can be life-changing for like moving energy in that short of a time. And yeah, it's pretty incredible for that.
Yeah. And so one of the reasons I wanted to have the conversation on this show is because we talk a lot about sex, spirituality, and holistic health. And I think it actually kind of in its own way encapsulates all three topics, specifically around for women with womb healing and fertility things and cleaning energy out. My girlfriend I was hanging out with earlier said that she did it and it actually cleared a bunch of cysts inside of her uterus. And it can be really, really detoxifying for the female body. Do you know I'd love for you to go more into that. And then also, is there anything when it comes to reproductive health for men as well?
Yes. So I've had people with like reproductive issues, and it's been helpful for like energetically clearing things. So I've had couples that have come and done it together, and they've been able to get pregnant afterwards. So there's been a couple that we've had. Yeah. And they actually just had their baby, which is so exciting. So yeah, it's incredible. They have.
Does it help with sperm count?
I'm not sure about sperm count, but that's a great question. I wish I knew. I have no idea. But I think intuitively what I feel is happening is like, a lot of the time there are energetic blocks that are happening when people are trying to reproduce. There's so much energy around it, and
emotional blocks too.
Emotional, physical, like spiritual, these things. And when you do Kambo, it's like a full deep cleanse of the body. So you're releasing so much things that are stuck. So once you get yourself clear, it's like everything kind of opens up, like your channels open up. Like it's like a big shifter for getting clear on yourself. So
yeah, for me, when I've used it in the past, and I just want to do a little disclaimer again, this show is for educational purposes only, and we are not promoting anyone to do this. We're just sharing personal experiences, and definitely consult with a medical professional before using any type of medicine like this. And we also will talk a little bit about like there are contraindications about it. And when I did it, when I feel the call, like first off, any type of medicine, always wait until you feel the call. And when I feel the desire to do Kambo, because it's very short, like you were saying, it's 30 minutes, not very long, but it's intense. It's like an intense experience.
Oh, yeah.
It's hot. It's like wasabi. Like it's big and it's intense and it's encompassing, but then it goes away really fast. And it's always when I am feeling lethargic in my life, when I'm feeling stuck or working through depression or having massive anxiety coming up or not feeling clear on what I'm doing next in my life or moving forward. And I've noticed in our society, not every human being, obviously, we have a very mass difference in all humans. And I've noticed in our society, a lot of times it's socially accepted. And yeah, it's just like it's socially accepted to become lethargic in depression and own it and claim it as if I am depressed. It's not like I have a bout of depression right now. Like I have the flu, right? It's I am depressed or I have anxiety. I mean, I guess we say I have anxiety, but it becomes kind of a part of our identity. And I think in the becoming our identity part, we hold on to it as a society. It's become, like the rate of anxiety. I heard a statistic that the amount of anxiety that an average 16-year-old has is what somebody like in the 1950s had in a mental hospital.
Wow.
Because it's become so socially normalized. We have technology and social media and a lot of disassociation happening in our modern days. So when we do Kambo, it really kind of pulls that disassociation away, drops us into our body, gets rid of the fear. For me, I always feel so clear afterwards and so focused and so on my mission and so, yes, let's go, let's do this. I'm so into life. And the heaviness and the lethargy and the disassociation or the not feeling good enough or not worthy enough or I can't do this or what's the solution, I don't know, goes away. And I just flow.
Yeah. It's amazing how you bring up a really beautiful point that's very important to highlight on is, so the original use for Kambo for the tribes is they actually use it if somebody in the tribe has something called panema, and panema means dark energy. So if there's somebody that has quote unquote that we call depression, they'll serve them Kambo because it like lifts the fog and it helps with the dark energy and it removes it. And they also use it for hunting prowess. So if they're going out hunting, it increases their stamina, it increases endurance, it helps to decrease their appetite so they can go out hunting for 3 or 4 days and, not need food. They can just like go through their hunt without needing anything. So for us in the Western world, it's incredible because, our nervous systems are shot in the way we're operating. And for us to get, a full nervous system reset with this medicine, it's incredible. That's the number one thing I hear from people like the morning after is they feel like a fog has been lifted out of their brain. Like they can hear themselves, they can think more clearly, they're more focused. I hear this all the time where people are like, I finally got to that project that was on my to-do list for like years. And people start like just doing things they've been intending to do because it literally clears out things.
The resistance
and the fear. And you brought up a really beautiful point that I love to share about Kambo is this frog lives high up in the trees in the jungle and it doesn't have any predators. So the reason why is because if a bird or a snake were to like bite the frog, it would spit it out because of the secretion. So the secretion is actually like a protection mechanism for it. It's scientifically, we know it's like a sunscreen. It's like protecting them from the sun, but it's also protecting them from danger. And it's almost like the way I learned about it when I was in the jungle is that it's like removing fear. So fear is a low vibrational frequency and it gets trapped in our body energetically. So the Kambo is actually seeking out fear in our body and removing fear, which translates to resistance, depression, anxiety, all of these things outside of our present moment is cultivating all of these like energetic blocks that are cultivated in our own minds. So the Kambo is just like it's called the Great Revealer because it's revealing you to yourself. So you get to your true self again and you can feel like people say they feel superhuman after it, but it's like, it's actually just your true self. You're not a superhuman. It's actually just you're you again. Yeah, it's like, welcome back.
Yeah. And definitely with the world and where we are with politics right now and with the state of like, there's so much fear in our world right now. There's so much fear of war. There's so much fear of the end of the world. There's so much fear of like what's happening in our government. There's so much fear happening. And so the antidote to fear, I think, is being a warrior and strengthening yourself and working through your nervous system and doing different processes. If Kambo is not the right tool for you, then great. But if it is calling to you, then it's a really powerful way in which to move through fear, I think, in a very fast way. For me personally, I have a therapist, don't get me wrong. I actually love therapy. For me, I feel like therapy is kind of like when you go and you vacuum your floors every week. Like if we don't vacuum our floors every week or, mop them, if we waited a year to do that, it would get pretty dirty and pretty cluttery and everything. And sometimes we need to do some deep spring cleaning, like go through the house and do that deep clean. And for me, that's Kambo is, I'm kind of, if I'm going through a bout of something where life is hard and my nervous system gets fried and I get overwhelmed and it gets really intense, I'm like, Heather, I need you. When can we do a session?
Yes. And we're always available.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, let's go.
And then I send people to you all the time. And, like recently I was at a festival called High Vibe, and this woman came to one of my workshops I did about Mary Magdalene. And afterwards, she was very touched by it. And afterwards, she was sharing with me, I'm going through this really dark experience right now. I just feel heavy. I don't really want to know what my life is. And first thing I thought about was you. And then I haven't talked to her since. I know she's done some sessions with you, but I saw her on Instagram story the other day and I was like, that is a different woman.
Have you ever had a super sexy, fun night and you're in the heat of the moment? You didn't care about any fluids, and then afterwards you crawl into your sheets and they're a little damp or a little crusty? Well, I have a really fun solution for you, because honestly, towels kind of suck. Let's be real. They're rough and not waterproof. So you want to get yourself a splash blanket. They're a super lush, soft, luxurious blanket that you have no idea is waterproof when you feel it. No crinkles, no sounds, super high quality, easy to throw in the wash and dryer, and lasts for years. I've had one for 4 years and it's in great condition. You can head over to splashblanket.com and use my discount code RoseHeartsong for 10% off your first order. And I'd love to hear about how it goes. So reach out to me on Instagram at RoseHeartsong and tell me about your splash blanket moments. I'd love to hear from you soon. Now let's get back to the episode.
When I met her, her aura was dark and heavy and dense, and her energy was dense. And, I saw this inner light wanting to come forward. And then when I saw on the story the other day, it was like this bright, vibrant, alive person. And we can tell, like a lot of things. I think a lot of people don't realize that, even if we're not expressing with words how we're feeling, our auras and our energies show it.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful point. And yes, thank you so much for sharing that story and sharing her experience, because it was honestly so beautiful to witness and hold space for that transformation. Because so it's recommended if you decide to come for a Kambo, or if somebody's interested, there's something called like the Inoculation, where you do 3 times within 30-day, like a lunar cycle. So it's good to do the 3 times. And we got to do that with her. And she came 3 weeks in a row. We had a week in between. So she had a week to integrate the experience. And every week that she came back, she literally looked like she had shed layers. And it was beautiful to hear her transformation and what shifted. And she actually, I was thinking of her when I was saying earlier, she rearranged her living room. She had done like a bunch of deep cleaning. And she said that she was like hearing herself more. She had more clarity and she was more productive at work. Her relationships were improving. And the thing I also witnessed that was really big for her transformation was the way she was speaking to herself. She was so much softer and gentler with herself. And this is the thing that the Kambo is really good at, is it helps you have less attachment to your emotions. So I notice you can step more into the observer seat of your mind rather than being caught in the tidal wave of the emotions around your thoughts. So the thoughts kind of like float by. And I like to we do some pattern work along with the Kambo to help you understand the patterns of the consciousness so that we can make change from these experiences. So that's like part of the experience as well. So, but yes, thank you so much for sharing about it and sending people. Thank you. It's really incredible to get to share this with people that are ready. And it's like you said, it's not for everybody, but I do notice that people that come, and especially when people are ready to surrender and let go and are at that place of like, I don't know what to do anymore. And when you hit that moment, like Kambo can be such a beautiful ally to help support and move that energy.
Yeah, no, 100%. I fully agree. And as we were saying, we're not medical professionals. This is just for educational purposes and it's not medical advice. So always consult with a physician prior to doing anything like this. And also, it's really important about the energy of the practitioner. Like I was saying, for me, for some reason, I felt like I needed to work with a woman. It's also making sure that the person is well trained. You were trained in a school in Seattle, right?
Yeah, that's where I went through an organization called Kambo International, and I did all 3 certifications with them, and also trained in the jungle too.
Wow, that's so amazing. I know a lot of people probably don't go to the jungle as well. So
yeah,
you are a master.
I don't know. The word master is like kind of loaded, you know. It's like I don't know if I'm a master, but
you're technically a master
according to the
certification. You did get trained in this. You went to a school to learn to offer it. So are there any like contraindications that somebody couldn't take Kambo?
Yes, actually, that's a great question. There's quite a few. And well, the number one is if somebody has a heart condition, because, I didn't actually say this earlier. Kambo, one of the most fascinating things that I love about Kambo is it has over 13 bioactive peptides. So it works synergistically with your body. And some of the peptides are vasodilators. So it does increase your heart rate. So we want to make sure that if somebody has a heart, we can't serve somebody if they have a heart condition, if they've had a stroke. There are contraindications if somebody has severe mental health conditions like schizophrenia, bipolar, and then if somebody is pregnant, because they actually do use Kambo to induce abortions in the jungle. So we can't serve somebody that's pregnant, or if they're breastfeeding, stroke, brain hemorrhage, or if somebody's had any type of like surgery recently. So
then they have to cover. So for those of you who are listening who are like, okay, what about this vomiting thing? You mentioned that really quick. People, when I talk about Kambo, they're usually like, what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to vomit. And I know that that is something that kind of in the medicine community, I was retrained in that concept because I've been to a lot of peyote ceremonies in my background. Years ago, I really got involved in the Native American church, and we would call it getting well. Like the medicines go inside of you and find like the darkness and bring it out. And I always kind of jokingly say, well, I don't like to vomit, but Kambo vomit's the best vomit there is. Because you don't eat or drink anything for 12 hours prior, like 8 to 12 hours, right?
Yep.
No water, no food. So you're fasting. So there's nothing in the stomach at all. And then you get me to drink a lot of water right before and during the experience. So when the purging happens, it's just pure clean water usually. And so it's not like a lot of bile, or like a lot of times I think a lot of us have experienced vomiting when they have the flu, are sick, or hungover. And those are really awful experiences. And so, I know I've talked to some people who've done Kambo and they've had a really hard time with vomiting or purging. It's something that's really challenging for them. And you and I were talking a little bit before, kind of like the ancestral thing behind that and how to help people work through that, because I know that that's kind of like a stopper for a lot of people.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing about that, because it's the number one thing people come to and they're like, I don't want to do this because I don't want to purge. I don't want to, they have something attached to it. And what I've been learning more recently is a lot of the time it's programming that is like an ancestral thing that's been passed down through generations, where we're taught that purging is bad, that it's like uncomfortable, and it's almost like we forget that it's actually incredibly beautiful that our body has the healing ability to be able to take things out of our body this way. And especially in experiences like this with Kambo or plant medicines as well, it's actually supporting your evolution and your growth when you like flush out energy like this. And I actually was working with a girl the other day, and we were talking and kind of diving deeper, because she had a deep phobia of purging. Even if she witnesses somebody else purging, she like herself can't even watch it on TV and stuff. And as we were like kind of digging deeper into it, we kind of started to realize and trace it back to, it's actually an ancestral thing from her family, from like the Black Plague, of like witnessing like her family like had witnessed people purging, and they thought that, you know, just being around somebody else purging was going to make them sick. So like these things get carried down from generation to generation in our DNA, and it lives within us and we don't even know it's happening. And this is the thing that blows my mind with doing this work is the more like healing work on yourself you do, and the more you start to reveal, the more you start to see a lot of the things we're carrying with us are not even ours. Like we're just like little walking like computer programming systems that have been programmed over multiple generations. And now it's like our job and our work that we get to, you know, kind of look at these things and think like, who am I? Like, what do I really feel about this? So that's what I like to invite people to is, can you like just shift your perspective about purging and think about it as a beautiful experience? It's actually incredibly, like, how magical is it that your body actually is trying to help itself in this way? Like it's an invitation to just shift the perspective. And it's actually really interesting how it can really shift pretty quickly if you just flip the script, you know, like.
Have you ever had anybody that has come to you that's had a history of bulimia?
Yes. So that one is actually, I had bulimia. So,
oh, wow.
So yes, I have, myself included.
Okay.
Yes, and it's funny doing this work. I like attracts like, and I serve people that have had bulimia as well. And it can be triggering. So we tread very lightly with that in terms of helping them, like just shifting also their perspective of how that energy is moving through you. And it kind of helps to reestablish your relationship with the purging experience too, of not using it as a coping mechanism or using it as something that
self-harm
is going to be hurting you. Yeah, it's actually like helping your experience, your life experience, basically. So
yeah, I've been really deeply diving into the work of existential kink.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been listening.
I have the chaos kink.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been like diving into it recently, like going back into the practice of it. So those of you who are listening, existential kink, I teach kink a lot in my training, and like conscious kink. So it's using kink as a form of somatic healing to alchemize trauma. And Existential Kink is a book that is written by, I gotta look up her name. She's an incredible woman. I've been listening to a lot of radio shows and interviews that she's been doing lately. And it's interesting because it's Carolyn Elliott. That's her name.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a PhD. And the concept of existential kink is subconsciously, this is very radical thought, but if you can actually take it on and just get curious and open your mind a little bit about it, is any patterns in our lives that are consistent that we don't want, right? That are toxic patterns, that maybe it's money, maybe it's relationships, whatever it is that consistently shows up in your life, there might be a part of you that actually is turned on by it.
Oh, for sure.
And I think a lot of people don't realize when we walk around, where a lot of us, I've talked a lot about BDSM on the show. A lot of us are masochist or sadist. So we want to either receive pain or give pain. And it's one of our it's an unconscious thing. And then when we bring the unconscious conscious, then we can have freedom from it. And I think that when we're talking about like bulimia and Kambo, that this could be like an existential kink practice of working through that process of that trauma and going into it in a really healing way. Because like I said, purging with Kambo is the best purging I've ever done. And I don't resist it anymore. It's like, I know that what's inside of me needs to come out in that way. And the last time you and I sat together, I had a hard time. I think that was the first time I've actually ever asked for the dots to come off. And I was like in it. I was like, wow, this is so intense right now. But like, I need this. This is something I need. I need this to come out of me. And so, a lot of times I think you got to choose your heart. You can choose the heart of being stuck in the depression for years, or you can choose the heart of vomiting for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or any other form of heart. It's like you can choose the heart of being obese or the heart of going to the gym. They're both hard. It's just you choose your heart. And so, it's just been like the existential kink is so in my reality right now. And I just kind of really thought about that like the purge and the experience of that is kind of like an uncomfortable, masochistic, intense experience for a moment. But then you're free on the other end.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It brings up a lot for me. And I think like the biggest thing where this really hits home for me is the thing I witnessed the most with this work is like awareness is the first step. So once we have awareness around something like a pattern or something we see, like there's no turning back from it. So that's the really beautiful thing that Kambo can do. And I mentioned it's called the revealer because it's revealing you to yourself. So you're in this experience where it's very, very challenging for 20 to 40 minutes. You're sitting there and like your last experience, you wanted to take the dust. You were like, oh, I want it off. And I was like, this is what you came here for. And once you like sit with it for a couple seconds, you're like, okay, yeah, this is what I came here for. And then, once the energy shifts, you start to see, you're like, oh my gosh, I show up in challenging moments like this all the time. Like I want to run and flee whenever. And that's the beautiful thing that Kambo does for me is I witness myself and how I show up in day-to-day life. When something comes up that gives me anxiety, I want to run the other way. Or if I'm in a conversation that I'm like, I got to get out of here. Like, I just want to run, like that. This is a pattern I have, like hiding and avoiding. It's easier for me to run away than it is to sit with the discomfort. So that's what the beautiful thing that Kambo does is you get to reveal your patterns and how you operate. And especially in, you brought up the, doing things hard. A lot of the time we go through this life experience operating from a very unconscious state. We're kind of on autopilot. A lot of people go to their 9-to-5 job, they go home, they drink coffee, they, just going, doing things in a very, sorry, there's nothing wrong with coffee.
I was going to say, I love coffee.
I know, sorry. I don't know why.
Much coffee.
I said
think
that
alcohol.
Yeah. Alcohol. Well, I used to drink like 4 cups of coffee and I'd work my 9-to-5 job and then I'd drink a couple glasses of wine like every night and was like, I was operating in a very unconscious state. And I'm sharing that as in, once you start doing this work on yourself and you start to like look at the way you're operating, it's like there's no turning back once you start looking at yourself in this way, because you start to see that there's so much happening that we're so unaware of. And yeah, I get very passionate about for myself, doing this healing work. I just recently uncovered like a really big pattern for mine. When you were sharing about how we have these things that we operate, and the same lessons keep coming up. Like I just had a really big, profound lesson be revealed to me in the past couple months where I didn't even realize this, but like I have been putting men on a pedestal my whole life. Like my father, and then this past relationship that I just exited, I didn't realize that I've been doing this my whole life and it's unconscious programming. Like I put people up on these pedestals and then I think they're God and I like allow them to then treat me however they want. And even when it starts to get a little sneaky and I ignore it, and anyways, this is the beautiful healing work that I get to do now is looking like, why do I do that? Oh, it's a self-worth thing. Okay. So, it's all those layers that we get to uncover and there's no turning back once we get the awareness to it. So that's the beauty of the healing journey.
Yeah. And, something that I've been really sitting with lately and studying behind is understanding that, God is seen as a man.
Mm-hmm.
And if we equate God with power and we equate God with a man, then he's equated with power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a question I've been really sitting is like, why in the Bible is there in he? And why is it that we collectively as a human consciousness see God as a male when everything around us is masculine and feminine, right?
Mm-hmm.
God is creation. It's all of the energy. And so when you said that, like putting God on the pedestal, like we have Jesus Christ on a huge pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
We have God on a huge pedestal. And they're just like these men. They're these masculine men. And so like one of the work that I'm doing with working with Mary Magdalene is really recrowning the female Christ on her throne.
Mm-hmm.
And really reawakening the memory of the power of the feminine energies and the cyclical nature and the intuitive flow and the magic that we women are. And so like when you say that you became, you took the unconscious and you made it conscious.
Mhm.
So now you're aware of it, and now
Mhm.
you're working through that journey. It's aware, it's having a compassion for the journey, right? Compassion for yourself, being like, wow, I did that. There's a part of me that's like, having love for yourself for making those choices. And then also like realizing that we have thousands and thousands of years of programming to equate for that belief.
Mhm.
And that, yes, it's an unworthy, or we, our 3 core wounds of I'm not enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy. And we also have a large thousands of years of programming that women are not enough, and that men are equated higher. And not that I have anything wrong with men. I absolutely love men. And I'm ready for a time in which we are both seen as powerful, and we're seen as partnerships and union and equality, not in the equality of like the feminist movement of like women becoming men and being angry.
Mhm.
Like that isn't nourishing for our souls either. And like we had to kind of go through that like wrecking ball of like
Mhm.
going from one end to the other until we find balance. And I'm hoping and I'm praying on a consistent basis that the world is starting to shift, and hopefully, this kind of extreme chaos kind of comes into balance eventually.
Mhm. Yeah, there's something one of my teachers likes to share about this. A metaphor is, we're at this really beautiful time in humanity where we're watching, the consciousness of the planet shift. This is the first time in humanity where we're actually changing, like the frequency of the planet's changing, and you could focus on the baby being born, or you could focus on the blood splattering everywhere. And that's beautiful. What you just shared is like you're holding on to the hope, you're holding on to the faith that there's a shift happening and things are changing rapidly. So it's like we get to just focus on what's being born and blossoming onto earth now, because there's a lot of distractions and there's a lot of things to pull us away from the beauty of what's actually happening here. So yeah, and it's so divine what you shared about Mary Magdalene, because today I'm listening to the audiobook that you told me about, The Immortality Key, which is so divine that this morning I was listening to the thing I really wanted to share that's so profound is in chapter 11. They're talking about Christianity. Sorry. And let me give the background in case people haven't heard of the Immortality Key. It's ancient history and the use of psychedelics. So there's common threads throughout ancient civilization where they were utilizing them. And this chapter, in chapter 11, they're talking a lot about exactly what you just shared about how, when the Bible was rewritten and there was changes, but Mary Magdalene was Jesus's equal. They were literally counterparts, and they were here on the same mission and it was of equality, and it was beautifully divine. And then, as time evolved, things have shifted so drastically. And it's so interesting to me. The biggest thing that came through when I was listening to it today, I was thinking about what's happening on the planet right now and how everything is so polarized politically, economically, financially. It's like every department of our society is falling into chaos, right? It's like, but this is the dawn of time where things have to go through this, like the dark ages where everything has to collapse in order for things to shift, right? So I don't know, I'm going on a ramble here. We're here to talk about Kambo. What am I talking about?
But no, I mean, like thinking about that though, it's like one of the things that is really important right now is to get clear on what it is that you want to craft and create in the world, and what your mission is, and what, like I always tell people, your purpose on this, a lot of times your purpose on this planet is the thing that triggers you the most, the antidote to that. Whatever the solution is to the challenge, that is your North Star. That is your target. Go after that, because you're going to have the fuel of rage, which was really, really important. And also the most powerful way to control people is to have people confused.
Yes.
And when you take Kambo, you're not confused.
Not confused.
You're clear.
Super clear.
On what it is that you want and what your mission is and what you want to go out and do in the world. And also, like, I go back to Kambo when I need it because it's hard out there. in the world.
It is.
There's a lot of challenges and things come up and stresses come up and big life changes happen. And there's always a tool in the tool belt. It's one of my tools. I have a massive tool belt full of incredible tools. And I know when that is the right time and it calls you and it brings you forward. And it's not for everyone. And if it is for you, it could be really supportive to nourish your body. And for me, you know, I'll explain kind of what it feels like. So after the first time, you know, as women, you mentioned that you put it on the arm, the leg, lower leg, and for men it's on the arm. But then you have a tendency to ask, like, where do you feel you need it right now in your body? And then I'll figure out, like, I'll look at your books or intuitively I'll know exactly where it is. And then you'll put those little, I think the hardest part about Kambo is like the half a second of the burn. So she just burns this little like spot, kind of like if you like are baking and you pick something out of the oven.
Touch a hot stove.
Touch a hot stove. It's really, really small, little tiny burn. And then you scrape off the
dermis. Yeah, the top layer.
Top layer, the dermis. The secretion from the frog, and it's really sticky.
Yeah, it looks like a little booger.
Yeah, it looks a little booger. And then you take that booger and you put it on the dot, the spot you had burned.
The gate. It's called a gate.
It's called a gate. And then they put it on, and then within a few minutes, like a few seconds, I start to feel like heat moving through my body. It's almost like there's kind of like when you're sitting outside of a campfire and you feel the heat, it's kind of like not too hot where you're burning yourself, but that warm feeling, it'll be going on the inside of the body. And it starts to kind of, depending on where the gates are on the body, it starts to flow into the body. And then the heart can start pounding and beating. Sometimes like the throat can close up a little bit. And I think that's a little scary for people who have a hard time surrendering, but it's not like actually closing up. It just like kind of tightens, and then the face can flush, and then eventually, you know, you'll be drinking a lot of water, and eventually I'll have a bucket that's clean and just let all this water out. And it's uncomfortable, but it's not horrible. And it helps to release that energy. And I always feel so clear and so alive and so free of the shackles of emotional chaos. And one of the reasons it's really important, I think a lot of people when they feel spiritually blocked or emotional or sexually blocked, or, you know, blocked in any way around intimacy or with the people around them, it's a really, really powerful tool. So if people want to learn like a little bit more about you and your offerings, how can we find you?
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, thank you for allowing me to be here. It's really so grateful for the time. And my business is called Divine Gift, and Divine Gift is every conscious moment is our divine gift. And we're here to remind you of that. So my website is divinegift.me. And then I have an Instagram, it's _ divine gift. And then our events are the same _ the Conscious Collective. We have these monthly events where we have a Goddess Day coming up, and then we put on events for world peace called Imagine. And then we have like group ceremonies quite often. We just had one on Friday, so we have them all the time. So yeah, I would love to share more. If anybody's interested, just feel free to DM me on Instagram or my website. You can message me on there too.
Yeah. It's super sweet. So thank you so much for having this. I mean, it's so funny that Kambo is taboo, but it really is, especially because of the purging aspect. But, you know, it's been such a powerful tool for me to come home to myself. And so thank you again for being here. And this is Follow Your Heart Song. We talk about sex, spirituality, and holistic health. And thank you so much for being on, Heather.
Thank you, Rose.
Yeah, you guys have a good night, all right?
Have a good night.
You felt that, didn't you? Let it sink in. Take what you need, leave the rest, and always trust yourself. If this spoke to you, please follow, like, and share. It helps the message reach those who need it. Stay wild, stay free, and keep following your heart song.